Does the thought of being in social situations and engaging in conversation make you cringe with discomfort? Well, listen, I know the feeling. I went through social anxiety for a very long time, and this treatment that I'm about to show you, it's going to systematically ramp up your confidence with others as well as give you total control over day-to-day social interactions. Now, I know that may sound hard to believe. After all, if your social anxiety was anything like mine was, the mere thought of having to make small talk, it completely cripples you with paralyzing fear and self-consciousness. I've been there, and I'm happy to tell you that there is a way out of that. Now, applying the right social anxiety disorder treatment, it is easier than you think, and the secret is in the approach you take. And here's what I mean. See, most therapists and counselors, they recommend a cognitive behavioral therapy approach. And this is where you force yourself into socially awkward situations to overcome the initial anxiety and gently ease your mind into a more adaptive state when you're faced with these circumstances. But there's just one big problem with this strategy. It's terrifying to implement. Now, I tried CBT when I had first set out to overcome my social anxiety, and it was a huge disaster. So the real solution is taking baby steps, because after the third or fourth time exposing myself to just moderate sized social crowds, I actually just swore off the goal and truly believed this would just be a problem I'd face for the rest of my life. It was too difficult to just throw myself into the situation. But thank goodness I didn't give up, because I probably would have wound up a hermit living in the woods if I actually threw in the towel at the time. But instead, I took a different strategy towards my social anxiety, and it was a strategy that allowed me to scale up from extremely small social challenges to larger hurdles, like going to parties, family gatherings, and even dating. And it really is possible to get past this problem. And, listen, I'm not some exceptional case when I talk about this level of social anxiety. I'm just a regular introverted guy who was very scared at the thought of even having to establish eye contact with someone, and particularly at the workplace. And with this specific symptom in mind, this lack of eye contact symptom, I decided to take my first baby step towards beating social anxiety at the workplace, which was a busy corporate environment. The worry of social anxiety, it can really take the motivation out of your workday. And instead of waking up in the morning and looking forward to a day of productivity, you wind up fearing anyone's attempt to greet or engage you socially. And this was one of my major pain points at work, so I decided to tackle this phobia head on while making a game out of it at the same time. And here's what I did. On an index card, I wrote down a headline at the top that said "Good Mornings." And the object of this treatment was really simple. I'd try to get 20 consecutive good mornings in a row. So what the heck does that mean? Well, every workday I would either say good morning and make eye contact with someone in the hallway. That was the goal. It's pretty simple. And also, if someone beat me to the punch and said good morning to me first, I would have to say it back and make eye contact out of it. Make eye contact with them for it to count as a point on the card. So each day with a successful exchange, it counted as 1 point. And I would mark down a point on the index card. And the rules were that I needed to do this every day consecutively. And if I chickened out and missed a day, the card started from the beginning again, and I needed to start over with the goal of 20 exchanges in a row. So if I received 20 points or 20 days in a row, I would scale up the goal to saying good morning and asking a conversational question to someone in the same day. And this was the nature of the challenge. You make it a game with measurable success that I could track and reward myself for. And obviously, it didn't go very smoothly at first. There were lots of times where I had to start over completely, but the real point was I didn't quit. I just kept going, and eventually I got to the point where I didn't have to start over, and I got to this 20 points, on the card. And what you want to do is, what I recommend is incentivizing the treatment. So for each card completed, I'd reward myself in some way, and this would be important for you too. So for the first card, Good Mornings, I wrote on the back the name of a bottle of wine that I really love, and prior to engaging in this goal, I bought the wine. and it lingered in my kitchen for quite some time before I had finally completed the goal of 20 days in a row and rewarded myself with it. And maybe wine isn't your thing. Maybe you like clothes or video games or gourmet desserts or whatever it is. I don't know. Buy that thing, have that thing in front of you before setting out to complete this goal. And the incentive is important because it makes the process more tangible for you to participate in. It gives you a more physical sense of focus. Social anxiety exists in your mind. And when you create incentives that are materialistic, it solidifies your actions by having you reach for something that you desire physically. And at the same time you're working towards this materialistic goal, you're making inroads towards your mental health, your mental goal. So ideally you should make your incentives greater in proportion to the escalation of your goals. And bear in mind, consecutive action isn't always applicable to the exercise at hand. So for example, you could have a goal that says go on 5 dates within 6 months. So you can restrict the timeline based on the thing that you're striving for. And that said, I'd like to say a timeline is vital for this to work because it prevents you from procrastinating and avoiding the goal altogether. That's why it has to be measurable. So if a long-term goal, let's say, is going out every Saturday night in public with or without friends for 4 consecutive weekends, be sure to have an incentive planned that you really, really desire. So the biggest point I want to stress about this strategy is the accountability that you face when participating. You're literally keeping score on your progress, and that not only pushes you forward, but also shows you how far you've come. Now, I used to pin my index cards on my desk at home to encourage my growth and show me that I'm really much stronger than I realized. And after 11 years of working on my social anxiety, I can happily say it's really become extremely minimal. And after years of step-by-step practice using methods like this one, I've developed a paint-by-numbers formula for systematically overcoming this disorder and living the life I've always wanted. It's one without fear, paranoia, worry. I'm not concerned what other people think anymore. And that can be your life too. For more information on this stuff, I offer a free video series at my website, socialanxietyfix.com. And you can go there right now and get this complete free video series that's going to show you how to really conquer your social anxiety with an action plan that provides actionable techniques like this that you can measure and that you can really just perform on a daily basis to strengthen your mental muscles, for lack of a better word. So go ahead and grab that free video series right now at socialanxietyfix.com, and I'll see you on the other side.